Thank you.
Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayanam Suragurum Jagadekanatham Bhakta Priyam Sakala Loka Namaskritancha Traiguണ്यवर्जितम् अजं विभुमाद्यमीशं वन्दे भवग्नम् अमरासुर सिद्धवन्द्यं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Last week we started discussing about Udyoga Parva, and a very important part of the Udyoga Parva, where Sri Krishna says that he is not going to fight and he is going to be on one side, and the Yadava army is going to be on the other side and they are going to fight. And there were some discussions regarding Krishna. He is on one side, and then whereas his army is going to be fighting against him. But as I mentioned the other day, last week, Krishna, first of all, is not a king. That we have to recognize. He is a Yadava chief. And the king is actually Ugrasena. So the army, Yadava army, is not fighting against the king. And also, as I mentioned, the rules of engagement, if a person is not fighting, the other party is not going to just bear arms against that person. And whether it is Krishna or anybody else, that rule is going to hold good. And as Sanjay put it the other day, last week, Krishna embodies the principles of dharma, and he is on the dharma side. Whereas Duryodhana is an arrogant person, and he believes in the army or the power of the army. And then so he chose, or he just sort of made to choose the army. And this is how we can sort of explain and then understand the importance. And also, Krishna said, if I come to your side, I don't want to be sitting idle. I don't want to be simply be worshipped. And then I need to do some work. And that's an extremely good principle, that wherever we go, we should be of some help to somebody. We should not simply be praised and then worshipped and then all that, and then, but still during a time of war, we need to put our hands together to see whatever is possible. But Krishna has taken a vow that he is not going to fight, or he is not going to bear arms. So he just had to just do some work, and then Arjuna very cleverly and then very consciously, very humbly requested Krishna to be his charioteer. And this is sort of illustrating a very beautiful principle, because we all, when we have to lead our life, we have to surrender to the Almighty God and then seek his guidance, or God should just guide whatever the actions that we do. That means the significance of being a Sarathi or a charioteer is our life is being just taken in the right way. So this principle is just holding good. And that's what exactly Krishna did. And so this, the first episode in the Udyoga Parva is an extremely important thing, important point where number of principles are illustrated, and clearly it is shown to the world what needs to be done and how it should be done. And as was decided in the Sabha, where Krishna was asking everybody, what should we do? It was decided that a emissary be sent to Hastinapura, and Drupada selected a very learned Brahmin, and then that learned Brahmin was sent to Hastinapura. And in the Vyasa Bharata, it clearly says that Brahmin, he went along with his Shishyas. See, this is like a group where they can observe what is exactly happening in the meeting of the Brahmin with the princess and then the king of Hastinapura. And then that's why they go as a team. They go as a team. And when they go there, the Brahmin clearly explained, I am on a mission of peace. And the Pandavas do not want to fight. But at the same time, they want their kingdom to be given back to them. And if this is not done, the war is inevitable. And the Brahmin clearly describes what are the various ill effects of a war, how destruction is going to take place unnecessarily. And then he makes sure that King Dhritarashtra and everybody tries to understand what the situation is and then act appropriately. And Dhritarashtra, on his part, he receives this Brahmin and then his party with all great respect. And then he listens to them, or listens to this Brahmin. And finally he says, okay, all right. We will think about this thing, what you have said, and then we will convey what needs to be conveyed. But in the meantime, when this Brahmin said about the peace efforts and the kingdom belonging to Pandavas be given back to them, Bhishma rose up in the assembly, the grandfather, the great-grandfather. He just rose up in the assembly, and then he says, what this Brahmin is saying, what this emissary is saying is really the appropriate thing to do. And then you should just go ahead and then give their part of the kingdom back to them. They have satisfied all the requirements, 12 years of Vanavasa and then 1 year of Ajnatavasa and all that. So give it back to them. And immediately Duryodhana in front of the Brahmin starts fighting. And Karna in front of the Brahmin starts fighting. So this clearly reveals what is going on in their mind and then how things are going to shape up later on. But still the king Dhritarashtra says, let us think about it. Whatever you have said is a right thing to do. We will just think about it and then I will let you know. And later on, he just calls his son and then explains how powerful Pandavas are and why we should just sort of have a war. And then it is going to lead to destruction. So let us just make peace with them, and then let us give back their kingdom. And Duryodhana will never accept that proposal. He will never want to share anything because he now thinks that Pandavas have just violated their oath and not fulfilled the thing completely. So that is why he doesn't want to share. Or even otherwise, he would have just gotten some flimsy reason to refuse to give the kingdom back. And Dhritarashtra is very helpless. And then so he conveys to the Brahmin the next day, we thought about this. Go on and tell Yudhishthira, we are really wanting to have peace, but it is not possible. And then unless on Yudhishthira's part, he is going to say, okay, I'm not going to fight anymore. We will be in the forest. We will be just doing tapas and then things like that. And that will probably avoid all the war. So please convey this message. And the Brahmin comes back and then tells the Pandavas, these are the various things that happened in the assembly of Dhritarashtra. And as I see, there is no way that they are going to just part with the kingdom, what is due to you. So you should really be, as we just examine the whole thing, you should really be making preparations for getting your kingdom back. In the meantime, after this Brahmin left Hastinapura, Dhritarashtra thought, oh, maybe this Brahmin, he is on the side of Pandavas. He may go and then give some sort of a special colors and things like that. He may just tell Pandavas all the things which may not work out in their favor. So he called his personal assistant, Sanjaya, and he told him, somehow go to Pandavas, to Upaplavya, and then try to convince them, this really doing the war is not an option. And somehow try to convince them, even they should not even claim their kingdom back. So, and also try to find out what are the various resources they have, what are the various type of preparations that they are making. All those things you can just carefully examine and then report back. And Sanjaya very promptly comes. He thinks now he is able to just sort of convince Pandavas, let us not have this war, and somehow let there be peace, let all the people be happy, and then let Pandavas be in the forest only. They don't have to worry. They don't. They are not going to be bothered by Kauravas and all that. So he comes and then talks at great length with Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira clearly understands what is the message of Sanjaya, or what message Dhritarashtra has sent through Sanjaya. And he clearly gives him a reply. How can you just simply say that you have been in the forest for 12 years and then you are very used to that life, so be continuing like that. This is like saying there is a person who became a millionaire and then there is another poor person. Oh, you are a poor person, you be like that only. I am a millionaire, I am going to be like this. Don't even just think of lobbying for some justice and then that type of thing. See, this is what exactly Dharmaraya or Yudhishthira said. How can you just even think like that? Dharma doesn't just allow that type of thing to be very, very passive and then simply agree to whatever the things are said, but it has to go along with the dharma. So your suggestion is not appropriate, and then even you should not even have thought about this. And he also meets, Sanjaya also meets Krishna and then repeats the same thing. Oh, Pandavas are already used to this Vanavasa. And then why we should just have this war or battle where thousands and thousands of people are going to die, horses are going to die, elephants are going to die. Somehow you have a good influence over the Pandavas. So try to tell them, somehow settle this issue. Krishna says, when Dharmaraya is just trying to say that what you are suggesting is adharma, it is adharma. Even from my point of view, I will never want that the children of Kunti be treated like this. They have to have in the society the appropriate place because they deserve that. And then I am going to make sure I put all my efforts to see that they are going to have an appropriate place, the right place in the society. Sanjaya is now thinking, oh, whatever Dhritarashtra said is not really correct. I should not have just come with a mission like that. But anyway, I was just an emissary, and then I just, he apologizes to Dharmaraya and then Krishna, and then he says, okay, I am sorry what I just said, but I am only an emissary. I just may be excused. And he takes leave of Pandavas and Krishna, and then comes back to Hastinapura. And as soon as he comes, he wants an audience with Dhritarashtra. He requests for one. The tricky part is this. He is his personal assistant, and he can go to the king anytime. But this time he just specifically asked for an audience. That means he wants to meet with him very formally. Because he is an emissary, he just comes and then meets with the king, and he describes all the things that happened in Upaplavya, in the meeting with Pandavas and then Krishna. And he starts chiding Dhritarashtra right from the beginning. You always want to be the Ekachakradipati. That means you are the only king, and then your kingdom has got to go to your son. And then you have never wanted really from your heart that the Pandavas should just have half the kingdom. And you have, he clearly blames him. And then he just brings out all the bad actions that Dhritarashtra has done. And then it is a sort of 30, 40 pages in the book of Vyasa Bharata. It just describes all these things. Then Dhritarashtra is very worried. Oh, the war is going to happen. What should I do? And he cannot have proper sleep. He is saying, I cannot have proper sleep. When the war is going to start and then my children are going to be completely wiped out, what do I do? Then he calls Vidura, his brother. And he is also, Vidura is also a minister. And then almost in the middle of the night, he calls him, I cannot just sleep. And then I'm very worried about the situation. What is the right thing to do? Then Vidura elaborately, clearly describes what is the dharma. And the right thing to do is just give half the kingdom, what belongs to the Pandavas, and then there is going to be no problem after you just do that, and then everything will be fine. Dhritarashtra says, Duryodhana is not accepting that proposal. And then he is saying Pandavas did not satisfy all the requirements. So Vidura clearly just describes a lot of history, a lot of Puranas, and then clearly describes what is the right thing to do. And this again, this Vidura Niti is another 100, 150 pages in this Mahabharata book. And Vidura thinks, if I advise Dhritarashtra, he may not just really realize what is the right thing to do. So he says, there is a great sage, Sanat Sujata, and then let him come and then tell you what is the right thing to do. And then Vidura just thinks of Sanat Sujata, And immediately Sanat appears on the scene. And then Vidura requests him, what is the right thing to do in this situation? And then the king is just asking for that. And Sanat again describes in great detail what are the right things to do, how previously things have happened in the Puranas and in the history. And then he advises Dhritarashtra to do the right thing by giving back the kingdom to Pandavas. But Dhritarashtra is still not able to do that because of his putra vyamoha. You know, we all have that putra vyamoha. When the question of our own children comes, they cannot make any mistake. Or even if they are making any mistake, we just try to excuse them. Or we just simply ignore them. But still, of course, it is out of love we just say that is putra vyamoha. But as a king, Dhritarashtra should just stood fast and then decided in the right way. And that is his weakness, and then he cannot do it. And as this situation is developing, and Sanjaya, and then Vidura, and then Sanat, they are all advising. And the next day, in an open assembly, Dhritarashtra puts this question. You know, I got a lot of advice from Vidura, from Sanjaya, and then from Sanat, and also that Brahmin from Pandavas had come, and then they all said, and the Pitamaha, Bhishma, said that the right thing to do is give half the kingdom to Pandavas. What do you say? And he describes in detail the how powerful Pandavas in terms of Bhima, in terms of Arjuna, in terms of Nakula and Sahadeva, and more than anything else, he says Krishna is on their side. Krishna is going to help them a lot. This is, as I just have heard from many stories or many reports, Krishna has just killed so many demons, so many Rakshasas, so many evil people. And then if he is on their side, that means Dharma is on their side. So he is going to just destroy us completely. He describes to the assembly in great detail the powerfulness of Pandavas, and then why it is a wise decision to give the kingdom, half the kingdom back to Pandavas. And Duryodhana says, I hear now, after this Brahmin has gone back, and after Sanjaya has visited Pandavas, now they are going to make one final attempt, and then Krishna is going to come to do some negotiation. And when he comes, I am going to just tie him up. He is the root cause for all this trouble. Wherever he goes, a lot of trouble is there. So when he comes to Hastinapura, I am going to imprison him. The moment he says this, Bhishma is so upset. He cannot just even think of imprisoning an emissary, and moreover, he cannot think of imprisoning Krishna. And he walks out of the assembly. Now, this is some sort of a great action by Bhishma. And Vidura, he walks out of the assembly, showing their protest, whatever that Duryodhana is saying. And Dhritarashtra immediately appeals to him, please, please don't do that. He is such a powerful person, you should not even just think of imprisoning him. And Duryodhana, he just doesn't care. He just thinks whatever he wants to do it. And then his Dushta Chatushtayas, those 4 advisors, big advisors for him, they say, oh, let him come, we will just tie him up and then put him in prison. And he is believing them that it is possible to do. And this is the situation on this side. And when Sanjaya came, and then that Brahmin came back and then reported all those things, finally, Dharmaraya, Yudhishthira, wanted to ask Krishna, what should I do? You know, they are sort of not understanding the seriousness of the situation. What should we really do? What do you advise Krishna? And Krishna starts asking, Yudhishthira, what is it that you want? Are you really going to be happy with peace? Simply, all right, you just be in the forest and then don't claim anything. You want simply a peace? Or do you want to have the right place in the society and then be the king, or be the king of the part of the kingdom that you have inherited? You clearly tell me, what is it that you want? And Dharmaraya says, you know, this human body is going to just go away any day. It is not permanent. And also, in this society, later on, the legacy, when they are thinking of, they will say, you know, Dharmaraya, knowing all the dharmas, he fought with his own kith and kin for the sake of a kingdom. What type of person he is? So my legacy is going to be bad. So I want you to negotiate peace. He clearly says this. And, you know, even if Dhritarashtra is going to give us 5 small towns, like the Kushasthala, Vrukasthala, Varanavata, and Avanti. And you can just take any one village in the entire world, and then I am going to be satisfied with these 5 things. Kushasthala, Vrukasthala, Avanti, Varanavata, and any village. This Kushasthala is for Nakula. Vrukasthala is for Vrukodara Bhima. Avanti is for Arjuna. And Varanavata, a wilderness. Anyway, Sahadeva is always going to be looking at the stars and then evaluating the things. Okay, I will give him Varanavata. And on this entire world, select one small village, or maybe a Tampa. You give me Tampa, I am going to be happy with that. Or give me a small town, I am going to be happy with that. If you are able to just get these 5 little towns to me or to us, we are going to be happy. We are going to be just saying Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna all the time, and then we will be happy. And Krishna laughs at this type of suggestion. You know, you are like a child who does not know the world. You don't understand Kauravas. Are they going to just think of giving you half the kingdom? Are they going to think of giving you the 5 towns? But anyway, that's your opinion. But in the heart of hearts, or in the real way, Krishna wants all these evil people to be punished. So he really wants war. But Dharmaraya has said, I want peace. So he says, next, you know, all right, this is your opinion. Let me ask the other Pandavas also. He just asked Bhima, you know, what's your opinion? What do you think? You want war or you want peace? We all will get surprised to know that Bhima says, you know, my elder brother will never make a mistake. Whatever he just says, even though I have been wronged by Kauravas in so many different ways, I will respect my brother's word, and then I want peace. Can you expect this from Bhima? And Krishna, he says, I was thinking the moment I just talk about peace, you are going to come out with fire. And then I thought that you are going to immediately rise up and then say, right now I am going to go to war with Kauravas. But you are going for peace. Dharmaraya went for peace. Bhima went for peace. Now, he asked Arjuna. Now, both Dharmaraya and then Bhima are elder to Krishna in age. Arjuna is a little bit younger. So he comes to the younger person and then asks, you know, you are a great, great warrior, the whole very famous, world famous warrior. What is that you want to just say? Are you going to just want peace or you want war? And this Arjuna is a very diplomatic person. And then he says, whatever the elders are going to decide, I am going to accept that. See, in some situations, some people say, whatever the majority decides, I am going to accept. They don't want to exercise their own vote, but they say, okay, if other people are going to decide, I will accept that. So Arjuna doesn't really say whether he wants war or he wants peace. And then Krishna asks Nakula, what do you want? And he says, you know, we are in this family, whether it is Kauravas or Pandavas, whatever ultimately is going to be decided, we are going to be just serving both the people. So whatever happens, happens. And he is also sort of neutral. He just doesn't want a war. And finally, Krishna asks Sahadeva. Sahadeva is supposed to be knowing the future, but he can just tell the future only when he is asked of it. Specifically, he should be asked what is going to happen in the future. Then he can just say what the future is going to unfold. And Krishna asks him, what is your opinion, whether you want a war or you want peace? And also tell me what is going to happen in the future, because you know the future. And Sahadeva very clearly says, I definitely want war. And the war is going to happen. He clearly says that. And Krishna now thinks, all the 5 Pandavas he has asked, there is only one vote for war. 2 clear votes for peace, and the another 2 votes have been wasted. Not clear expression. So if you just take it like that, 2 votes for peace and 1 vote for war, you cannot go for war. So what do we do now? And who is the person who has suffered a lot in this entire period? Krishna immediately knows. Draupadi is the one who has just suffered a lot. So she is the queen of all the Pandavas. So it is appropriate that we ask her, and then she sends word, and then she comes to the assembly. And she says, what is happening in the assembly? And the people who just went to fetch her clearly say, this is exactly what happened. Dharmaraya wants peace. Bhima wants peace. Arjuna says, whatever you decide is okay. And only Sahadeva is the one who just wants war. And he says it is going to happen. And she is so pained. She is so angry. She cannot just even believe that Bhima, of all the people, accepted for peace. So she comes with her eyes flashing. She is very angry. And as she passes, Dharmaraya ignores him because she knows Dharmaraya is like that. And she comes in front of Bhima. He comes in front of Bhima and then appeals to him in this way. Let us hear a padya.
भीमा बलवदराति सेना भीमा कुरुकुल कुसुम मार्गण भीमा भीमा कुरुकुल कुसुम मार्गण भीमा मरदै मानिनीय मानपहानिಗಳ भीमा मरदै मानिनीय मानपहानिಗಳ ರಾಮನ ಬಲೆಗೆ ಕುದಿದ ಘನ ಸಂಗ್ರಾಮವನು ನೀ ಕೇಳಿದರಿಯ ಭೀಮಾ ರಾಮನ ಬಲೆಗೆ ಕುದಿದ ಘನ ಸಂಗ್ರಾಮವನು ನೀ ಕೇಳದರಿಯ ಭೀಮಾ ಪ್ರೇಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡು ಎನ್ನನು ಭೀಮಾ ಪ್ರೇಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡೆನ್ನನು ಎಂದಳು ದ್ರೌಪದಾ ದೇವಿ
What a feeling of Draupadi. She is the one who has suffered so much. And then all these people, the patis, they are deciding the future in a most inappropriate way. And she naturally has got to be angry. She naturally has got to be sad. And then this particular shloka clearly depicts her mind, what is going on. But Bhima has said it is for peace. He is just bending his head forwards, and he is not even able to look at Draupadi and then let alone give an answer. And she goes to Dharmaraya, she goes to Arjuna and then all that. And then how can you just even think like this? Then finally, when nobody is, even Krishna, he goes to Krishna and then says, how can you even think of going and then negotiating for peace when you know what is the suffering I have gone through? So Krishna also is silent. Then he declares, you know, you are all as patis, you are useless. Only Sahadeva is the right one. I am going to go with him, and my father's 3 Akshohini Sainya is going to fight the Kauravas, and then we are going to just drink their blood. This is the type of anger she has got. And then she declares, I don't want your help. I am going to go and then fight war with the Kauravas, and then I don't need any help. When this type of a declaration is given by Draupadi, Bhima is now becoming extremely angry. And he says, Narakamardhana kelu. You know, he just totally he abandons his mission of peace. And then he says, I am going to fight, even if Yama is going to come and then say that these people's Ayushya has not finished. I am going to finish the Ayushya of Yama. That is the amount of anger that he got. And then he finally declares, I definitely, whether Dharmaraya is going to say whatever, and then Arjuna is going to say whatever, I am going to go with Draupadi, and then we are going to fight the Kauravas and win the whole kingdom. I will take the whole kingdom. And he says, in Kannada it says Uru. In Sanskrit, Uru is the thigh. So I am going to go and then have the thigh. That means this resembles the thigh of Duryodhana, whereas Uru, we can just say that it is corresponding to the various towns. I am going to get all of them by myself. I don't want any help. Like that he declares. And the assembly dissolves there. And Krishna really achieves what he wants. He wants to just destroy the evil people. And then for that, the war has got to happen. And then this is only a proper way of eliciting the opinion and then preparing the mind of these great warriors in the appropriate way. And then he does it. And he is now ready to go for negotiation, because still Yudhishthira is saying, go and then negotiate, get us the 5 towns at least. If they give half the kingdom, that is good. If not, if they give 5 towns, we are okay. And so somehow go and then negotiate. And Krishna leaves Upaplavya and he is coming towards Hastinapura. And as he starts, Draupadi once again comes and then says, Krishna, please do not negotiate for peace. And Krishna assures Draupadi, Devaki Amelane. And then he just says, I'm going to just promise you on the name of my mother, on the name of my father, on the name of my son, I'm going to make sure that this negotiation, what I am going to do, is going to be broken, and ultimately there is going to be war. I assure you like that. He promises Draupadi all these things, and then he just goes towards Hastinapura. On the way, he stops at Kushasthala. It's a town. It's a pilgrimage town. And a lot of rishis, Gautama, Vishwamitra, Parashurama, they are all assembled over there. And then Krishna comes and they are so happy to see him. And Krishna says, he just salutes all of them, because Krishna, being a young person, he just respects all these rishis. And then he says, my mission now is to go and then do negotiation in Hastinapura. And all these rishis says, can we come with you? Can we come with you? Oh, Krishna says, sure. And there is a sort of a trick by Krishna here. If all these big rishis are going to come, and then they are going to be in support of, or appear to be in support of Krishna, it will look good. It will look good for the assembly, and then Duryodhana may change his mind. He may just be willing to give half the kingdom. Or at least some sort of a pressure is going to be applied on him. So he says, all right, you also come with me. And they all travel to Hastinapura. And this news that Krishna is coming for negotiation, he is already on the way, reaches Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, and then all that. Then Dhritarashtra says, don't even think of imprisoning him. Don't even think of tying him up. You have to go and then give a proper welcome to Krishna. Try to pamper him. try to win him to our side. Duryodhana says, nah, I am not going to do that. And Dhritarashtra, he is at that time declared as a king. I am commanding the elders like Bhishma, Drona, and then Kripa, and they should go and then welcome Krishna and the party. And they all come except Duryodhana. The other, even Dushasana comes, Karna comes, and then so many other kings who have already come over there. They come to welcome Krishna. And it was a great reception, along with all the ladies having Kunkuma, Arshana, and then all the Mangala Dravyas. They come and then receive Kalasha Kannadi, that's what they say, to welcome some noble guest. And then with all that great honors, Krishna is received. And Duryodhana has made arrangement for Krishna to stay in Dushasana's house. And he tells Dushasana, prepare excellent food, prepare excellent lodging for Krishna so that he is going to be happy. And it appears Dushasana's palace was probably the biggest one, even compared to Duryodhana. So make sure you just make him comfortable over there. And Krishna, as he is welcome, he says first, I have to go and then pay respects to the king. Here also you can just see some Dharma Sukshma. The king does not come to receive Krishna. See, even these days, when the president of some other country comes, the president of the host country do not go and then receive the president. Some other senior officers, secretaries or ministers or minister of state, they go and then receive the VIP. So, and also, first of all, the other thing is from a practical point of view, Krishna is not a king. He is only a Yadava chief, but he has got so much amount of fame because of his actions. Everybody respects him. But the protocol is followed, and then King Dhritarashtra does not come to receive Krishna. And Duryodhana, on his own, he doesn't want to go. And everybody else goes and then receives Krishna, and then asks Krishna to stay in Dushasana's palace. Krishna says, no, wait a minute. I want to first of all go and then pay my respects to the king and the queen. And after I do that, I will just go on my way. And I will decide at that time. And Vidura, the minister, when he is a little bit close to Krishna in this reception, he tells him, I'm going to come to your house. A little bit secret, he says, I'll come to your house. Vidura really doesn't believe because he just thinks that he is just sort of joking. And he says, okay. And then Krishna goes to pay the respects to Dhritarashtra and then Gandhari. And then after the paying of the respects, and then in fact Dhritarashtra tells Duryodhana and actually Vidura to pick the best jewelry, best precious stones to give it to Krishna. So that means he is just pampering Krishna or trying to bribe Krishna to be more on the side of the Kauravas. And he gives them all those gifts, and then Krishna also gives gifts to the king and then the queen, and then prostrates before them, and then he just comes out of the palace. He is walking on the thoroughfares of Hastinapura now, and he passes Bhishma's palace, he passes Drona's house, And Dushasana's palace, he passes. He doesn't stop over there. And stride he is coming. And Duryodhana always just sort of ignores Vidura, and then so he's in a remote place. So he just keeps walking, and then he comes to Vidura's place. As people are just really coming towards along with Krishna, they are saying, Jai Krishna, Jai Krishna. And Vidura says, where is this sound coming from? He comes out and then sees this procession of Krishna coming towards his house. Now he just really believes, oh, Krishna is coming to my house. And what do? He just gets so excited. That excitement creates some sort of a madness in him. He just starts simply running around Krishna, and then he just goes around his house running, and then a lot of things happen in his bhakti, in his humbleness. And then he has to be reminded by Krishna, you are making me a little bit ashamed. I come to your house, and then you are just sort of doing all these antics. What is this? Ask me to come inside the house. And finally, Vidura understands the situation, goes inside, and then they talk about welfare of everybody. And Krishna is now receiving the Atithya of Vidura, a great devotee of Krishna, a great bhakta. And then Krishna again demonstrates that he always is interested in the bhakta rather than power. He could have just stayed in Dushasana's house, or even if he wanted, he could have just stayed in the king's palace. But he doesn't do that. He goes to Vidura's house and then stays there. And he wants Vidura to go and then ask Duryodhana, what is the right time that Krishna should come? He has come on an important mission. What is the right time that he has to come? And Duryodhana, being so arrogant, he is already upset that Krishna ignored Dushasana's palace and then went to Vidura's place. He is already upset. Now he is saying, what is your good time that I come and then meet with you or meet with the king to an important mission? And Duryodhana says, oh no, today I don't have time. Maybe tomorrow. Nale barahelu. So he says, you can come tomorrow. He can come tomorrow. I will tell you the appropriate time. So that type of arrogance is in Duryodhana. See, every step of the way, you see how Duryodhana is going towards his doomsday, and he is just demonstrating to the world how arrogant he is. And all these things are happening because of Krishna. And then he is just trying to play the game so well. And he is just trying to already upset Duryodhana so that he just behaves in a inappropriate way. And finally, he is going to destroy these negotiations. That is his mission. Anyway, next week, we will just see the actual negotiation of Krishna and then his mission, and then how he is going to handle Duryodhana and then everybody. And then we will just see it next week. And let me do the closing prayers, and then afterwards we can go through any comments or questions. And next week we will go for the actual Krishna Sandhana. Swasti prajabhyam paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha gobrahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam lokastamastas vikino bhavantu kale varshata parjanyaha prithvi sasya shalini deshoyam kshobarahitaha samastas santu nirbhayaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.